In this video, we are going to look at the contact record and see what information it gives us about a candidate and what are the key indicators that tell us that this candidate is a high potential candidate or if they are likely to join the fellowship. So as you click on the candidate name on the reports, this is where you will land. Now there are certain links that take you to different sections of the application, of their application, which is beyond the contact record. We'll come to that in a minute. So the candidate record is basically going to show you most of the information that they have put on their application form. So it starts with the basic information. Here, the state or union territory is a drop-down menu. So whenever you want to filter your lists, this is the best way to filter. The current city is something that they type in. So you might see different versions of the same city when you try to pull out a report. The record type is candidate. Again, these things are not really important. What is important is the cohort year, their date of birth, age, city, all of that. Another thing is that this age field is a dynamic field. So it just calculates the age based on the date of birth. So with every passing year, the age number will keep changing. So that's something to remember when you're trying to look at historical data. The next section is application details. This basically tells you about the status of their application. It tells you about when did they complete their registration, which round they registered in. It also tells you the date when they completed their application. Right now it's blank for this candidate because her application is not complete. And these are the statuses of their different sections of application. So she's finished basic, she's finished education, she's finished professional. She only has her essays left. So this is very important to understand who are the people who are most likely to complete their application, those who have a very small portion left, right? So it just helps you in prioritizing. It also helps you understand where they are in their application. The next section is pretty straightforward. It is their contact information, their address information. The current and past record is an important section to look at, especially when you are trying to decide if they are a high potential candidate and when you're trying to design your conversation for the candidate. So the professional status will tell you if they have had work experience or not. So currently there are these six different professional statuses. There is undergraduate student, there is postgraduate student, PhD student, currently working, not working for less than 12 months, not working for over 12 months. There is one more field that's missing here. Sorry about that. But people who choose these two will still have had some professional experience. People who have absolutely no professional experience and are also not students right now will have a seventh option called no professional experience. So this basically helps you understand, one, what is the background that they are coming in with. It really helps us identify what are the concerns they could have, what are the motivations they could have. Secondly, it also helps you understand what time of the day you should call them. For example, someone who's a student would be unavailable in the first half of the day, and someone who is working would only be available after say 6 or 7 o'clock. So these are just some things that the professional status helps you understand. The rest of it is information about their college, their field of study, if they've done their post-graduation, if they are working, their current company will be mentioned here. This is just important to understand which college they are from, hence what is the potential that they could have based on the tier of the college or the selectivity of the college. Second, the next thing that we look at, and this is the most important field, guys, is the most illustrious leadership position. This is filled out when they are filling the absolute first page of their application form. And this field actually helps us understand if we should prioritize calling this person or not. Generally, if you are noticing that they have a lot of experience here, that means they have the potential to be fellows, they have the potential to be selected. So this is an important field when you are deciding to prioritize. As you go forward, you see an AMCAT detail. So this is again helping you understand their status. The different statuses are not started, in progress, complete, expired, and aborted. The first four are straightforward, but aborted means that they have started in the middle, but they left it. They started the AMCAT, but they left it in the middle. Hence, they cannot retake it. For expired and aborted, if they express that they want to take the AMCAT and they want to take ahead the application, they can write to the admissions ID and get it restarted. For not started and in progress, you just need to give them reminders about their last date. Remember, AMCAT expires within 72 hours of their application submission. Again, you'll get details on when the test is created, which is the day and time the application is submitted, and if they have got a reminder SMS, and if their test is created. As you go ahead, you see the HPC rating. Again, this is to help us understand if this person is a high potential candidate. This is where we record that information. The system gives us two recommendations. One, it recommends if this person is a high potential candidate based on an algorithm that has been already shared with you. We also have a version 2, which is an even stronger filter, and it further filters the auto recommendation into a version 2. So why this is important is it helps us understand while we are calling our candidates, we would prioritize version 2, then prioritize version 1, and then prioritize the candidates who have not been auto recommended by the system. Now, say you've given them a call and you've seen that they have potential. You can mark them either as a high potential candidate, or if you see that they have the potential but you are not seeing 100% potential in them, you can mark them as a potential candidate. And if you see that they have absolutely no potential, mark them as a non-potential candidate. It also helps us understand better about our selection process, about our auto recommendation process, if you start marking the non-potential candidates as well. So this is where we bring that information in, and you can put in the potential rating here. So LSTA is leading self, LOTA is leading others, FIT is their motivation and alignment with the fellowship, and GRIT is if they have had challenges in the past and they have been able to overcome those challenges. So you can provide your rating here. As you move forward, you see their information about where they heard about us. Again, this is very important because it tells you what is the first source. If the first source is media or presentations or a recruiter conversation, or if it is word of mouth through staff members or fellows, you know that they already come in with that kind of information. So someone who has come while browsing social media might just have a very, very small glimpse of the fellowship, versus someone who already has spoken to a fellow, who understands the fellowship, or who has volunteered in a classroom. So this really helps in understanding what information they are coming in with. There is also a most influential source that helps us understand what made them to actually complete their application. The next part is just eligibility criteria. You don't need that for your classroom, for your calls. Same with the recruitment data. You will use this once they go into assessment center, and that time your RMLs will give you more information. Same with this, you do not need this information. The selection data is again required in the assessment center stage to understand where they are in the whole process. What is there? Have they signed up? Have they showed up? Which AC round are they going into? and then you come into the offer letter information. So here onwards, these last 3 to 4 sections are matriculation sections, which you do not need as of now. So we'll skip that to when we actually start having our fellows in. So this is what the contact record is, guys. Just explore the contact record, because once you understand this, it becomes very easy for you to create your own reports based on which information you want. For example, you can filter people who come from undergraduate college equal to University of Delhi and have a report with only University of Delhi students. You can put these as fields in a table in a matrix report and create a report with people from different colleges. Understanding of these fields really helps you make great reports. All the best, and let me know if you have any questions.